What's up, everyone? Welcome to our How to File a EIN online webinar. Before we begin, my name is Josh. I'm from the University of Verne Small Business Development Center. And here at the SBDC, we're one of 1,000 centers that are funded by the SBA that help small businesses start and grow. And we do that in a couple of different ways. We do that with free one-on-one consulting, and we do that with free trainings and resources just like this one. And we'll get into that a little bit later. But today's workshop, we're going to show you how to file an EIN online. Also, what is it and whether or not you need it. But throughout the session, we'll send out some helpful links. And if you have any questions, you can throw them down in the Q&A feature at the bottom of your Zoom screen, and then we'll get to those a little bit later in the program. But let's get started. First thing we need to talk about is, what is an EIN? And the first thing you need to know about an EIN is it's an employer identification number. It's a 9-digit tax ID number the IRS uses to track businesses. It's usually in the form of a kind of a serial code, so 2 digits with a little hyphen, and then 6 digits afterwards. And then most of the time, it's commonly used for businesses when they have employees to put on their W-2s, but it's also for filing tax forms, which we'll get into a little bit later. But if you want to know what the EIN kind of looks like on a form, we have this form here. This is a regular W-2 that you as an employee would have received if you are one. And it has this little EIN number right here. This is basically what you're going to be getting once you file. And we'll get into why you might need one in just a bit. So now you have a little bit of background about what an EIN is, but that kind of begs the question, do you actually need one? And so the IRS tells you that you might need an EIN if you have employees, just like the W-2. If you need to pay employment taxes, like payroll taxes, you pay excise, which are special taxes for special things like batteries and other specialized things. Or if you have alcohol, tobacco, or firearms taxes. So you would know if you have those special taxes that you would need an EIN. Otherwise, this is going to be based on some other factors. So if you also withhold taxes on income other than wages that you pay to a non-resident alien, that's how the IRS puts it. Again, if you do know that you need this, or if you do know how you're going to be using this, then you would know you would need an EIN. Otherwise, if you operate any other entity, other than a sole proprietorship, so there are some partnerships that you would need an EIN for, so and as LLC and the corporation. So these are the 3 entities that you would need an EIN. You absolutely would need one, or required to have one. Now, if none of these apply to you, then you can register for an EIN. This is basically your choice. And these are a couple of different reasons why you would want to register for an EIN that the application, once we get into it, will ask you. And so you can register for an EIN if you are looking to file taxes but are not a partnership, you're not an LLC, or you're not a corporation. So we're going to be doing it as a sole proprietorship. So if you're a sole proprietorship, you're not required to have an EIN, but it is a good idea to have one other than using your social security number, which is the other option. You can register for an EIN if your bank requires it. Some banks will require you to have an EIN for business accounts, and so you may need to register for one if you need it. And then the final thing is going to be state tax requirements. Now, there are some states that may require you to have an EIN for tax purposes. California, don't believe that you actually need that, but if you are listening from another state, you might want to check with them to see if they require that for your business. But that's pretty much it for the EIN. We figured out what it is and if you actually need one. So if you ran through all this stuff and you realize, you know what, I need to apply for an EIN, we're actually going to take you through how to apply for it. So now that you figured out if you need an EIN, we're going to head to the irs.gov website, and we're going to go down here where it says apply for EIN. This is going to be the
Hey, Josh, real quick. We can't see your screen.
Oh.
It's a black screen. We see the mouse, but I don't know if it's paused.
Screen sharing is paused. Stop that real quick and start it back up.
All right, good to go.
All right. There we go. Technical difficulties. But yeah, so we're here on the irs.gov website. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to apply for an employer EIN. And this is the basic page for the EIN. All the information that we just went over, this is where you can find it here on this page. So if you have any questions, or if you need a little bit more information about what the EIN does, all the information is right here, and all of these little links here that you can kind of dive into it. But next step is we're going to apply for an EIN here. And this is the EIN Assistant tool. So this is what you're going to use to actually apply for one. And it tells you a little bit more information. This is going to be public. You have to do it within 15 minutes. And some other things about how the actual system works. And the form it's going to give you is going to be form SS-4. That's going to be a little important when we get to it. But for now, we're going to begin application. And as you can see, there's only 5 steps to this entire process, and it's going to run really, really fast. So like I said, this is basically going to take maybe 15 minutes, maybe a little less. So, but the first thing it's going to ask you is, what is your legal structure? And so, like I said, we're going to be doing it as a sole proprietorship, which is an optional type of business. But if you're a partnership, a corporation, LLC, it has all the different options for you right here. So you can pick which one is right for your business. And you should have your business entity set up before you're applying for the EIN. We do get some clients who will do this before, and they may have some issues with this afterwards, but you want to have the business set up beforehand before you actually get this EIN. But now we'll do the sole proprietorship, and we'll continue. And so here it's going to clarify what a sole proprietorship is. Sole proprietorship is only one owner. You're not incorporated, and you're not registered as an LLC. And you're going to be doing your taxes with a 1040, you're self-employed, yada, yada. The other thing is you're not a household employer. That's a little bit different. So if you have a babysitter, nanny, butler, all those things, that's a separate type of household business employer. So we're just going straight sole proprietorship. You're the business, you're not a corporation, and you're not an LLC. So we'll choose that here, continue. And it's going to clarify, again, you are a sole proprietorship. You know, you're a business, you're owned by one individual, self-employed, not a corporation and not a limited liability company. So once we have all that straightened out, we'll push continue. And now we get into a little bit more of the actual application. Remember when I talked about if the sole proprietorship or the EIN, what you were going to be using it for? So here are the different options. The three most common options are going to be if you're starting a new business, if you're hiring employees, or for banking purposes. Most of the time, as a sole proprietorship, you're going to just be starting a new business. So you would choose that. If you have employees, there's a specific question about that. And then if you're doing it simply for banking purposes, you can choose that. But for the most part, you're going to be choosing starting a new business. Alrighty. So then here is where you're going to be putting in your information. So you're going to put in your name, last name, social security number, and we're going to answer a question about the sole proprietorship. So we'll put in name. And I won't put in my social security number on screen just for the purposes of it. But I do want to talk about this question before we continue. It's going to ask you if you are the sole proprietor who is applying for the EIN. For the most part, you would do this yourself unless you're having a third-party service actually do this for you, and then they would choose that here. But since you're probably going to be doing it yourself, you can choose that. We'll put in the social security number, and then we'll press continue. But let me stop sharing real quick. We'll put in that information real quick. Continue. And then we'll reshare. And we're back in action. All right. So once you put in your personal information, we're going to put in the information of the business. So where is the business actually going to be located? For the most part, if you're a sole proprietorship, you're probably going to be a home-based business, unless you're, have a storefront somewhere. So you would put where that is. So we'll just do a dummy one. We'll do the SBDC. So we'll do, what's it, 3rd Street. And we'll do Laverne and California and 9750. And then we'll put in our phone number here. And then the next question is going to be if you're going to have a different mailing address than the business address. So, if you have to put in a different address, you can. Otherwise, it'll just be the same address, which is what we're going to be using. So it's going to be our address is going to be our also mailing address. So we'll just put that in, make sure everything is spelled right, and then continue. And as you can see, we're already pretty much done. We're on the 4th step already. And here is where things are going to get a little interesting. So it's going to ask about the sole proprietorship. So if you are running the business with your name, you would just keep it like that, and we don't have to put anything here. If you have a business name that requires you to have a DBA, you would put it here after you registered it. If you're using some other name that doesn't require that, you could put that in as well. For example, I could put in myself, we'll say Telemedia as a, media marketing company. And so I don't require a DBA. And we are in Los Angeles, and we're in California. And just for example's sake, we won't start this business now. We'll start at, say, the beginning of the year. So we'll do January 2025. You can do it immediately, but you don't have to. You can set it for the future, something like that. And then we'll push continue. And then we're just going to ask you some additional questions. And so these are very specific questions to very specific kinds of businesses. So this first question is going to be asking, does your business have a highway motor vehicle with a taxable gross weight of 55,000 pounds or more? This is going to be for commercial trucking vehicles. So if you're going to be a trucking company, you might answer this question yes, if it reaches that weight. We're not a trucking company. We don't have a vehicle that big. So we'll push no. Next question is, does your business involve gambling or wagering? No, our business doesn't, so we'll push no. Does your business need to file Form 720, which is an excise tax return? Now, remember I said excise taxes are very special taxes, and you would know if you need to file any of that stuff. We don't, so we'll push no. Does your business sell or manufacture alcohol, tobacco, or firearms? That's all stuff under the ATF. We don't, so we'll push no. And then the question about the employees that I talked about a few steps ago, do you have or expect to have any employees? This question is pretty specific. So if you plan on having employees within the next 12 months, you can push yes if you're going to need them almost immediately. I'm planning on being just a sole proprietorship. I might hire an employee, but that's going to be a little pretty much down the line. So I'm going to say no, but that's going to be up to you and how your business is going to be run. But for the most part, as a sole proprietorship, solopreneur type of thing, you're probably going to answer no to all these unless you're in one of those industries and you would need to answer yes. Otherwise, that's pretty much it. We'll continue. And then here is the industries. So you can choose any one of these industries based on your business. And we can actually go through a couple of these if you want to see what questions it's going to ask you, because there are additional questions based on the industry. So say for construction, if I were a construction company, we can click continue. And then it's going to ask me what kind of construction, what trade. Are you a framer, a roofer, electrical, plumbing, HVAC, all that stuff. So if you are going to be that, you would push yes and then put in the type of trade you're in. We're not, so we'll push OK and go back. And then let's say we want to be, if you're opening up a food service company, like a restaurant, then you would click this. And you can choose a bar, barred restaurant, full service, fast food, any one of these types of restaurants. So we choose that and then click continue, but we're not going to be that. And then the last one, for most of our businesses, they're going to be like retail. So we can check that out. Continue. And then it'll ask you how you were selling things. So it could be an e-commerce business over the internet. If you have a specific type of storefront, direct sales, like a catalog or something, or an auction house. And that's pretty much it. So we're not going to be any one of those. If none of this stuff falls into your the type of industry you're in, you're probably going to have to click other. So down here, you can click other and you can continue, and it's going to open up to a couple of other different industries. So like consulting, a specific kind of manufacturing that wasn't on the last page, some nonprofit organization, a rental company, repair company, stuff like that. Like I said, I was going to be in marketing company, so we'll do consulting, and then we'll do continue. And then right here, it'll ask me the specific type of consulting. So management, finance, marketing, any one of those. Let's do marketing consulting. And that's pretty much it. We'll push continue. And right now, you're done. All you'll really need to do is figure out how you want your letter to be, or how you want your letter how you want to receive your letter, rather. So you can either receive it online, like clicking this, and then once you click continue, you're going to download it as a PDF, so that you can either save it to your computer or print it out automatically. The other way is receiving it by mail, which might not be the best option now that you think about it, because it's going to take 4 weeks for delivery, and who uses mail anymore? But that's pretty much it. Once you click continue, you're done. You'll receive your letter, and actually I'll show you what it looks like because it's right here. So this is the top half of the letter. There's a bunch of text about, what the EIN does and how to contact the IRS and all this other stuff. But this is basically what your, stop share, show you the letter. This is what the letter actually looks like. And so this is the letter for the EIN. This is what you'll download, or this is what you'll get in a paper form. Like I said, it'll have the legal name of the business, which is what you'll need for why it asks you those questions. Here is where your EIN will be. And then where it says Form SS4, this is how you'll know it's an EIN, because you filled out the EIN application tool. And that's pretty much it. So let's pause real quick, and then we can open it up for questions if we have any. Let me stop share real quick.
No questions at this time.
No questions?
Yep.
Yeah, it's pretty easy. And like I said, it's pretty self-explanatory about what we'll need for the EIN. But really, I just want to thank you all for kind of joining us. You learned how the EIN works, if you would need it, and really just what you can do to apply for it. Like I said, there are some kinds of services that will do this for you. And there are services like LegalZoom, registered agents, stuff like that, that can do that for you. And so they will charge based on that for LLCs, corporations, even sole proprietorships or partnerships if you'd like. But like I said, we did this in about 15 minutes, and it's pretty much done. And so once you receive your EIN, now you can start with the whole startup process. And really, this is just one step of the process to getting your business started up, past the business plan or setting up your entity, the business license, all those little licenses and permits that you might need to get started up. That's just one step. But once this one's out of the way, then you're pretty much up and running, and then you can just keep on going and start working on your business. But that's pretty much it. Like I said, if there are no more questions, what we'll want to do is, if you are looking for one-on-one help, you can do so. You can call our office at 909-448-1567. And if you try this process and you're pretty much not sure if you're doing it right, you can meet with one of our consultants and actually have them, we can walk you through the process, make sure everything is okay, and that you're basically doing it right. Like I said, it's really, really easy. In fact, we just had an advisor do it last week with a client, and they basically just got themselves up and running in about a single session. So like I said, it's 15 minutes, and it's really, really easy, and you don't have to really worry about it messing things up. But if there are no other questions, and making sure everything is okay, don't forget to join us with our next training with Sean. We'll talk about the 5 Cs of credit and what the banks are going to be looking for as far as approving your business for a small business loan. And that's going to be on Wednesday, December 4th at 2 p.m. So if you'd like, please register if that sounds good for you. But we appreciate your time. Thanks for the training, and yeah, thanks for watching the training. And then we will see you in the next webinar. Thank you very much, and have